What's going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Got the whispers on the way, and I'm looking forward for you guys to, for this interview. Yeah, we definitely gonna have a ball. Talk about their history and the business. This brother's been in the game for 50 plus years. I mean, so many hits, so many, platinum gold success. Oh my God. I mean, it's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? That music, raised me as a little boy, into a grown man. That is no lie on that one. Back 4.5 was going on. Let's go ask some about people over your way. Go ask some more about people your way. What's going on? What's going on? What's up for the Perspective Podcast? Yeah, man. Well, with that, saying it's going to be about the Whispers history, saying? Don't want to take away from anything, say they doing and stuff. So that's really important. What's up? What's up, sis? How you doing? Shouts to Bria. Make sure you guys follow El.
And I really appreciate that. That's probably one of the biggest magazines I've been on and stuff like that. Trinidad in the house, New Zealand in the house. If you from a different country, make sure you leave a comment on the flag where you from and the city, and I will shout you out, man. Because you be surprised, man. Who's watching you pretty much around the world. You can say, "Are you welcome?" No problem. Because a lot of times, when people when they be featured on magazines, a lot of times they never. Some people don't share it. Some people don't even do a shout out. And to me, that's fake. It's like, why would you submit your story? You're not, showing that person love. And to me, I hate stuff like that, man. That's shady. And we got a handful of, black people like that. And the ones that do appreciate that, where the love is coming from. Because I mean, I've been on Hype magazine, I did Grinders magazine, I did 40 Sports magazine. So this magazine right here is like the fourth biggest magazine I've been featured on and stuff like that. 'Cause it's one thing, you in the pages of an article, but when you are in a featured as a cover headline, the whole center of attention is on you, and people that may know of you, but they don't know your history. So when they read the story article and stuff, like, okay, this is where this person's from, this is what they about, this and that, and just go from there. So people were shocked. It's like 27 years. Say, yeah, man. Even though, say I'm 42, I don't look it, what I'm saying? But I'm glad I don't look like my age and stuff, thank God. Riff in the house, what's going on? What's up, homie? Yeah, saying shouts to Riff. Make sure you guys follow, them on IG. Let me tell you something. I've been a fan of Riff, man, since, 89, since Lead On Me, man. But when they put that first album out, man, case closed. I mean, this guy's hit after hit after hit after hit, man, nonstop. Okay, just let me see what's going on. Yeah, they put out so many hits, man. It's a ridiculous league. What I'm saying? Off of one album, 5 hits and stuff like that, man. What I'm saying? And those brothers definitely deserve their flowers, man. In my opinion. I mean, every time my heart beats, if you're serious, white man can't jump. I mean, come on now. What I'm saying? My heart keeps falling. Judy got, what I'm saying? Judy got a boyfriend, and man, what I'm saying? Come on now. Janet, how you doing, my sister? How you doing? Big Jake, what up? I know everybody's coming in and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't interviewed a legendary artist, man. As far as a celebrity, it's been, yeah, probably I want to say like 2 years, because The last one I interviewed, well, the last two I interviewed was Kid Lattimore, the 2021, and then I interviewed Jared from PM Don and stuff. And last year I didn't really do a lot of interviews last year because I was kind of like, I wouldn't say I was burnt out, but I was kind of more like, kind of like drained a little bit, do a lot of interviews and stuff because here it is. Back then I think I did like 280 something interviews, and stuff like that. Now I'm at 304. So when you do a lot of interviews, and besides other businesses, man, it can really wear you down. But when people, see you're a good podcast host, you'd be surprised, the requests you get in and stuff. What are you going to do with Janet? Reach out, man. Listen, I have a heart attack, man. If Janet Jackson reach out to me or her team, man, dude, it's epic. But one thing for sure, man, I ain't gonna be asking the same questions like so many bozos be doing. That's the real truth. By the Gates. Yeah, but make a long story short, yeah, man. I mean, if you heard, one thing I would do is break down her albums, talk about, songs that people don't even talk about, songs that went number one on the R&B side, not just the Hot 100, and, a lot of groundbreaking moments. See, that interview right there, that has to be at least about like 3 hours or 4 hours. Because here it is, this woman been in the game, man, since she was, 6, 7 years old. 50, say 51 years. So we talk about a legacy and stuff. And plus too, I think one question I would ask if has she would have ever, did a song with her sister LaToya Reed. Because, with social media, people always dig up that photo of her and her sisters, like, what would have happened, that would have been it would have been a trio and stuff. And I think that's always been a mystery of it, but some people don't ask about that. They'll, every time they bring Janet Jackson, they'll talk about, why do people call you Miss Jackson if you're nasty and all this other same motherfucking Main Street questions. I hate Main Street questions though because they belittle a lot of shit. Like if I had Tim and Kelma on here, we're not gonna talk about Kelma. We're gonna talk about the whole history. Not just that one song. So I hate when, podcast shows and certain media outlets, they keep talking about the same fucking bullshit, for clickbait, and what that does is it belittles, as if the artist's a one-hit wonder. So that's why I say that, if you do interviews with a platform that keep talking about that one particular thing, make sure your team, hit them up, say, hey, these are the questions that, my guests, say my artists want to talk about, not just one particular song and stuff. So if you're looking for a clickbait, then we don't need to be on here. You know what I'm saying? So I hate that shit. Are you interested in interviewing Reese for Changing Faces? Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You know what I'm saying? Shoot, I'm ready. Whoever said is in the R&B game to interview them, so I had no problem with that one. You know what I'm saying? As long as they're ready, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? We could talk about the timing and everything. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? For the Perspective Podcast, much love to you. That's why I say, as a podcast host, we definitely got to support each other. Nobody should not be nitpicking and, thinking they're better than the next person. To me, that's, fake and phony. I never see why people take the time to do stuff like that, man. So to me, that's a bunch of hibbity blue blah, bullshit. But with that being said, just waiting on the whispers coming in, see what's going on and stuff like that. Yeah, but that's the thing too, because I always, that's the thing too, like whenever I see my people do podcasts, and stuff, and they do to the game, it's inspiring because you see more people, coming in and really, making their own wave in. But also too, I always say that, if you're going to be a podcast host, don't try to act all bougie and cocky, you know what I'm saying? Because there's this one brother, I ain't gonna mention his name. I call him the male version of Whitney Williams. And this brother right here, all he talks about, you know, it's a bunch of stupid shit, you know what I'm saying? Bringing up rumors and all kinds of crap. Look, my brother, you know, if you look into, you know, get out there quicker like that, my brother, you're not gonna make it far, man. That's the reason why they try to get rid of all these sketchy bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying, out the way. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so we gotta do better as black people, you know, when it comes to the art of being a podcast host. Okay, this should be live any second. Ray, what's going on? Phil, what's going on? The whisper should be live for me any second. So I'm pretty sure they saw the notification. Okay, here we go. So wait on the whispers come in. Legendary Fear Perry, brother. Hey, man, I'm going to go in and hit you up, man, once I wrap up the interview with the Whispers, man. So, you know, we definitely, man, got to chop it up and talk about your story, man, in this business, man. Yeah, so I'm going to see you in DM and then pretty much go from there. Yeah, man, let me tell you, you know, I've been a fan of the Whispers, man, since I was like, the first song I remember, man, was Rock Steady. That's the earliest I remember, man. Living in the Hood, that was like the go-to song back in the day, man. That and In the Mood, oh my God, man. You know, anybody that was around 87, 88, okay, be there in a minute. Okay, cool. Okay, they'll be there in a minute. It will say Jay Scott joined it. Okay, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And make a long story short, you know, I remember, anybody, man, that was alive in 87, 88. You know, the Whispers, man, you know, besides any, you know, music band or group or solo artist, you know, it's like the Whispers was a state of rotation between a quiet storm and a daytime radio stations. I mean, Rocksteady, In the Mood, and Just Get Better with Time, man, it was on fire, man, you know. And I remember that as a little boy, man, that was like, man, a great era back then. You know, even further than that, man, you know, every song that the Whispers, you know, sung, man, I mean, was hit after hit after hit after hit, man. I mean, it's like incredible. You know, that's say my mama grew up on the Whispers music, my uncles and aunties did. You know, say my father did, you know, the rest is history. So, man, a whole lot of people made a lot of babies off that music. Everything the Whispers ever say was pure magic facts. And that's come from the legend himself. You know what I'm saying? You know, Phil said that, you know, and just like the Riff said, you know, so real recognized talent. Beatrice Johnson, one, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, but man, you know, I remember back in the days, man, you know, when BT, you know, was BT, when they had the BT Men I Love, man, and Video Soul, growing up, you know, like whenever artists drop an album, they would run that album in those videos long enough until when the artist drops another album. And, you know, back then, you know, BT, they did promotion because what was it, you know, the brothers that was behind BT, you know, Bob Johnson, you know, he had a great team, you know. He makes sure that the artists got enough, you know, buzz and stuff, you know. Like, for example, like uh, Michael Jackson album Bad. That album ran on BT from the day it dropped in 87 up until 91 until Michael dropped Dangerous. And then like Bobby Brown put out Don't Be Cruel. That album ran for 4 straight years until Bobby finally put out another album, the Bobby album. I mean, you know, the list the list goes on and stuff, you know. So back then it was like a marathon. So it's like you basically didn't miss nothing, really. You know, like Janet Jackson's album, Control ran from there, and you know, say that's the real truth. And then who else? You know, and then we also you know, just so many people like Riff, you know, like their first album came out, you know, say the album ran from the time it dropped until they put out their second album. So, you know, Phil, Nita Baker, Luther Vandross, you know, who was it? High Five, SWV. I mean, the list goes on, man, you know, and stuff. And, you know, we don't have that no more these days, you know, where, you know, the video stayed in rotation long enough, you know, until the artist, you know, drop an album and stuff like that, you know. So that's the real truth. Okay. Jane Scott's coming in. She's the wife of Walter Scott. So on his way.
There we go. Yes.
Yeah, fellas, what's going on? How you doing?
We're trying to get in. Good kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all good.
Yeah, we're trying to get in on the. All right, you got it?
Oh, that's fine.
All right. That's cool.
Because if I do that, then
Yeah.
you're sideways.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Can you see us?
Can you see us?
Yeah, I can see. Okay, yeah, just kind of angle the camera a little bit, you know, kind of turn it, you know, because I see, you know, okay, there we go. We good to go right there.
Okay.
Man, you know, I just want to say, you know, it's an honor to have, you know, you guys, you know, say on my platform. Let me tell you, you know, I've been a big fan of yours since far as I can remember when I was like 5 years old. I saw Rocksteady, you know, on BT.
Oh man, thank you so much, brother. We appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man. You know, my mother, man, she grew up on your music, you know, when she was a little girl and stuff. And, you know, and my uncle that had a lot of babies through your music.
Yeah, I heard that.
And stuff. So, yeah. But with that being said, now, I see where you guys pretty much re-recorded, you know, the songs, you know, Olivia and The Beat Goes On. Yeah. And what was the negotiation to, you know, get your freedom back, you know, saying to have those songs again, as far as rights?
So yeah, what happened with the statute of limitations, after so much time goes by, if you want to, you can re-record for the ownership of them. And that's what we're doing. We're in the process, not just Olivia and the Beat and Rock. We're going to record as many of our original songs as we can, so we can actually own them and negotiate for ourselves as to how the music is played.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because with the label y'all was on, Solar Records, and when I was looking through the history, and you know, all respect to, you know, the brother, you know, God rest his soul, but I didn't know that, you know, the contract you had, man, was bad. You know, it was like, you know, it's like it's what you get paid on the road, but not getting y'all, you know, checks coming in for the singles y'all were singing. So how did y'all deal with that?
Well, I wouldn't say they were bad. They just weren't equitable. They weren't fair. You know, and it's bad. I guess that is the right word, but it really was no different than what was happening to most acts that was on record labels. In other words, record labels owned all the rights. They had the right to determine how the music was played, and depending on what you negotiated in terms of your royalty rate, that determined how much you were going to make out of the project. So after years and years, thank God we live long enough, we can go back and re-record this and do the same thing that the records companies are now doing. In other words, if a motion picture company wants to do business with one of our songs, instead of calling the record company, they can actually call the Whispers company and negotiate with them directly because they own the product.
Yeah, but let me go to your original. Let me go to your original point, what you said, because I totally agree with what you just said. It wasn't just a Solar. We weren't being treated fairly, and not only us. Most black acts back in those days were being cheated, and because otherwise you wouldn't have to do this today. If we'd have been treated fairly back then, why are we this late in our life having to even go and redo your catalog? It's because you wasn't treated right in the first place, which is what your original point was. And I want you to know, I understand it, and I appreciate you saying it.
Yeah, because I know there was a statute of limitation when it came to, you know, just now trying to fight to get your freedom back. You know, I mean, it's one thing, you know, 360 deals, but I know that, that's how deep it was, when it came to, songs that be owned by different people. People sell your records and put them on commercials and stuff. People call you and say, hey, man, I hear your song be a remix. You're like, what? And you got DJs from different countries taking your records, remixing them without you even knowing it until somebody points it out and say, hey, somebody took your song and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what was it? Be about ASCAP, do y'all get like the word, where your records was going out without y'all permission?
Well, no, it wasn't that. BM&I and ASCAP, that's publishing. But basically, it was just they had the right to do whatever they want because they signed us to a contract as an artist. We're no longer signed to anyone today. We now own it just like they do. So when the record comes out, whoever the publishing goes to, we decide as to where the publishing goes, the writer's royalties, all of that is determined by us now as opposed to the record company.
Yeah. Like when I heard, say this record, The Beat Goes On, I said, man, for you guys to sound the same as y'all did when y'all first recorded, man, I said, it's unbelievable. Some artists, man, they don't even hit those same notes, like they once did. And for y'all three, how do y'all manage y'all voice, throughout the years?
Well, we've been very, very blessed, man. The fact that we, none of us ever drank drugs, none of that took place. So at almost 80 years old, we still can sing just like we did when we was 19 years old, which is why we can go back in the studio and redo all this stuff. It's basically how you take care of yourself. What you put in your body is what comes out of it. And if you treat your body right, it'll treat you right. That's what's happened to us.
Man, facts. I think a lot of artists definitely need to learn that, man, because that's a handful I know that do smoke, man. And I've been like, yo, man, you sound like a car can't even start, brother. Need to get that together.
Yeah, that's right.
And stuff. Man, but I want to take it all the way back to where you guys were born. Now, correct me on this. Y'all was born in California, right?
Scotty and I were born in Texas. Lavelle was born in New Orleans.
Texas.
Yeah, and Nick Caldwell, he's the only real Californian. He was born in California. Marcus was born in St. Louis. But we started right here in LA. When we came to California at a very early age, actually, we were still in junior high school, which is where we met all of the other Whispers and formed the group. But that's been many, many years ago. Yeah, no question. Most people think that we were born in LA, but we weren't. We're from Fort Worth, Texas.
Yeah, because I kept thinking, I was like, these guys are born in Compton or Watts. I don't know why, because that was just like in my head for so long. I said, let me ask first, that way, they could correct me on that.
We were brought up in Watts, California. No question about it. Went to school in Watts. Markham Junior High and Jordan High School in Watts.
Okay. Now, during that time y'all was in school, was your mother a singer? Your dad was a singer? Like, how did that, came about?
Believe it or not, neither my mother or father, they both were singers, but they never pursued a singing career. It's just something that we picked up when we came along. I'm talking about in the early 60s. We were in junior high school. We was just kind of like everybody else. We wanted to be like the Temptations and the Four Tops. And at that time, the stand-up vocal group was what like hip hop is today. And that's kind of how it started. But my mother and father, neither one was in the entertainment business. As a matter of fact, my mother wanted us to have nothing to do with the entertainment business. Wow. But my father, on the other hand, he was the one. He said, go for it,
Yeah, that's what's up, though. Now, by the time y'all, became a young adults and stuff, and, I know back in those days, a lot of young black males, was getting drafted to the Army and stuff. And if I'm correct, one of y'all two got drafted in the Army?
Yep, that's right. That's me. Yep, I got drafted. Ended up going to Vietnam, spent the whole year of 1966 in Vietnam, and came back and rejoined the Whispers.
Yeah. How did was the group still active? While you was in the Army, or was kind of like like let's wait till you get out, then let's go ahead and get the show rolling?
No, actually, first of all, we have to start back in those days. The law said you could only take, when it comes to twins, you can only take one, firstborn, which is why he ended up going. And while he was in Vietnam is when the rest of the Whispers sort of got our education. That's when we really started learning the business. There's a young man by the name of Sylvester. You don't remember him as his name, but Sly Stone was his name. But he was, at that time, he was the top disc jockey in the Bay Area. He heard the group and decided to bring us to the Bay Area. And that's really what launched our career. He heard our little first record we had recorded a record called Never Again. he heard it and liked it and played it on the radio, brought us to the Bay, and that was the birth of the Whispers.
Wow. Now, at that time, did y'all go like different names? You know, and then how did y'all come with the name of the Whispers?
That was the first label we went to, was a little label in LA right here in Hollywood called Duray Records. And it was owned by a young Jewish fella. His name was Lou Bedell. And we were auditioning to get on the label. And he loved our sound. He said, hey, man, you guys got a great sound. It's soft and it sounds like a whisper. Why don't we just call you guys the Whispers? So Nick is the one that said, well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Bedell, you give us this deal, you can call us anything you like. And that's true. That's how the name Whispers came about.
Yeah. Now, back then, you know, I'm pretty sure it was pretty much limited to where to perform at. You know, everybody started like with like the children's circuit and stuff. So what was it like in those days, you know, going to like different local spots just to be, you know, heard and seen as a young man?
Well, for us, we did, you're right. I'm surprised you as young as you are, you know anything about the children's circuit, but you're absolutely right.
Oh, yeah, man, I do my homework, man.
You sure do, because that's just where we started. And that's where most black acts were started back in those days, in what they call the children's church, which really wasn't nothing but clubs in different parts of the country, you know, in black neighborhoods. And it was called the children's circuit. And that's where we started. And we went all the way up. We did that up until we first had our first hit called Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong. And that's when the doors started kind of opening just a little bit. And from that, after that, the rest was history.
Yeah. Yeah. Now around this time, it was the 71 to 72 Soul Train, you know, just came in the scene. You guys heard about that. What was the first impression? You know, you guys thought to yourself like, yo, you know, I mean, man, I think we could really have a chance to get our face to be seen on the TV.
Well, we were actually, I don't know if you remember this, but Soul Train originally started in Chicago. And as Scotty said, we were on the children's circuit. That was in the 70s. But we, Don Cornelius and Dick Griffey, who was our manager, who later went on to be the owner of Solar Records, they were friends, and they brought us to Chicago to do the first Soul Train show, which was taped in Chicago. He later came out to Los Angeles, but that was our first exposure to television. And like so many acts at that time, if you remember, Dick Clark was on, but I mean, if you weren't a big pop act, you didn't get that exposure. Don Cornelius and Soul Train gave exposure to all of the black acts that really weren't that big at that time, but later on became real big black acts. You know, I'm talking about, this was before the Delphonics, the Stylistics, and their infant. This is before even they had hits. They were on the Soul Train show, just like we were. So when we first got Soul Train, that was a big break for the Whispers because we got television exposure, which we never had.
Yeah. Now, around that time, what did your parents think when they saw y'all on TV? Like, I know they was like, man, they were like pretty much like happy with joy seeing that.
Well, my mother said, you know, maybe you got a shot. You know, my mother always believed in, you know, having a job with some security and benefits. But once she saw us on television, she said, well, y'all got a shot. You might make it. But we didn't know that it would take another 10 years before we did the first Soul Train show to get a hit record. Our first hit record didn't come until 1980. This was about 1973, 74. So, you know, we hung in there, which is what we tell other young people. We believed in ourselves and we hung in there, and eventually it happened for us. 1979, lo and behold, 1979, 80, and the beat goes on, came along, and the rest is history.
It changed everything.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy, though, because, you know, some people, you know, they pretty much give up. Be like, dang, man, I guess they're right. Like, let me go give me like a 9-to-5 job working at a post office, or let me see somebody hired at a hospital or working as a grocery store clerk and stuff. And for, you know, for you guys to be like, you know, like, let's stick with it, you know, hopefully so the good could happen. And thank God it did, because I don't think we would have had the records, you know, from you guys, you know, and stuff, you know, today. And that's a blessing, you know, if we got to stick with it. I mean, for so many years and still doing it, man, you know, it's incredible, brothers.
Well, that's the message that we tell young people when we talk to them, because we're a prime example. If you really believe in yourself and you want to be in the business, you have to stick to it. That's what we did. I mean, it was at points, at times it was discouraging. We said, is this really worth it? But we believed in ourselves. We thought we had a good act, and lo and behold, it finally happened. It took a while. But we tell young people all the time, if you're really, really serious, don't let nobody talk you out of your dreams. Stick to it.
Got to. Now, correct me on this. Now, your first top hit back in 1970 called "Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong."
That's exactly right.
Right.
Yep. That was the first, and that was the first
Yeah.
sign of the message music. I don't know if you remember, but you're probably too young. The Watch Riots took place, and basically,
Oh,
that
okay,
song, yeah, and that song was mirroring what was happening in the black ghetto. And Seems Like I Gotta Do
Wow.
Wrong was the first time that we ever recorded a song that had a message oriented for all black people. And it wasn't a real big hit, but most people remember it. It was a big hit for us at the time.
Wow. You know, that's crazy too, because from what I studied, that, you know, a black artist trying to get heard, you maybe had, was like 2 or 3 stations. You're lucky enough just to even, you know, get a spin or two and stuff. And what was it like when y'all saw your songs climbing up in that top 10 spot? I know it was like, wow, man, you know, it took us to get to this point to finally somebody hearing us.
It was a hell of a feeling, to be honest with you, because back in those days, if you didn't have what they called, you know, a hit record, a pop record that could cross over, you couldn't get played on black radio. You know, that black radio was kind of almost really defeating its own purpose, but that's what happened. But Seems Like I Gotta Do Wrong put enough of an energy out there that we finally got airplay in the black community, and the rest is it. From that point on, we didn't have a problem.
Yeah. Now, correct me on this. Was this around this time y'all was shopping? I mean, y'all was looking for a deal. You know, would y'all sign to Solar Records first, or was there a label before that you guys were signed to?
There was a label before that. We were actually not a label, but we were signed to a producer. His name was Ron Carson. And as a producer, he took our music to various labels. We didn't really have a label per se. We were signed to a guy, that's why another thing, wrong thing to do. You know, when you're young, you're trying to get exposure. That wasn't the right thing to do, but that's what we were doing. Ron Carson was basically our spokesman. We were signed to him, and he talked to several groups. You know, Chess Janus, BMG at that time. Later on came Solar when we signed with Solar as a record company as artists.
Yeah. Wow. So okay, now around this time, okay, you know, I want to talk about what's that song? I know everybody was okay. The top, another top 10 hit. Okay, One for the Money, Part 1.
That was the One for the Money was songs done at Gamble and Huff. Then once again, what you just said, we were signed to Chess Janus as a record label, and they sent us back to Philadelphia to work with the Gamble and Huff people. And that was one of the first songs that they did on the Whispers called One for the Money. They later did songs like Mother for My Children, Living Together in Sin. That was all done by Gamble and Huff. And One for the Money was a minor hit. It wasn't a big hit. You know, it didn't make the top 10, but it put us out there a little bit.
All right. Now, okay, by this time, fast went up to 1979, and The Beat Goes On, #1 R&B hit. And, you know, what was like the feeling you guys, you know, felt when somebody came and said, hey, y'all, you know, the song went #1? Or did y'all, you know, look for like what position your song was going at that time?
No, when RnB Beat Goes On came, it changed everything. To be honest with you, we started it in November of 1979. By January of 1980, it was platinum. By February, it was double platinum. So we went from a group that had been around at that point 8 or 9 years to the biggest hit that we ever had, and it was the biggest hit in the country. It replaced Michael Jackson at #1. And as you say, it changed everything. I mean, our lives changed completely, because from that point on, for the next 7 years, we either had a gold or a platinum record when we recorded it. And then The Beat Goes On started it all.
Still the biggest record we ever had.
Right.
Wow. You know, because I know like with some songs where they do real well, some artists go from like a kind of like a medium venue to like a big venue. I mean, I know you guys start seeing a lot of different stuff, you know, in front of y'all. Like, wow, man, you know, we actually get more extended tours. We actually, you know, get more television appearances. I know that was like a whole like a 360 change overnight.
Oh, it was unbelievable. Yeah, it's what happens to you. Basically, the work paid off. You know, we wasn't prepared for it, because we had been preparing for it for about 9 years at that point. But you're right. We went from doing clubs to huge concerts, you know, all over the country. And ultimately, you know, after this 50-year career, we've been all over the world as a matter of those songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, good example, man.
Now,
Just to give you a small
go ahead.
example of how you go from one extreme to the other. When you go from playing a small nightclub to New York City, Radio City Music Hall, and you see your name in lights at Radio City, it took me a minute. I saw it, but I still didn't want to believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Right.
unless it was just drastic, you know, but that's basically what happened. From 1980 to 87, everything was either gold or platinum, and it just, and the beat started that ball rolling.
Now, around this time when the 80s came in, disco was, you know, starting to fade out. And, you know, with the black music, soul music was going a different direction. You thought to yourself, like, okay, you know, well, since everybody's trying to, you know, diss disco, did y'all have a problem with disco, or just like whatever song you made feel good to y'all was going to sing at the moment?
Well, no, actually, it was a matter of timing, because disco came in about 1977 through 79. When 1980 hit, disco was kind of over. If you remember the disco songs, it didn't last that long. And in 1979, as disco was ending, we had the good luck to come with And the Beat Goes On in 1980. And from that point on, you know, we had 2 songs out during the disco era, and neither one of them did well at all. What was it? Open Up Your Love, Scotty? I think that was one of the tunes we had during the disco era. But lucky for us, as disco was ending, we were ascending in 1980 with And the Beat Goes On, and the rest is history for us.
Right. All right. In the year 1980, you know, you guys dropped a top 3 R&B hit single called Lady.
Right. That's good. That was from the album with And the Beat Goes On. Lady was the second single, but believe it or not, from that album, the biggest ballad on that album was never released as a single, and that was called Say Yes.
Wow.
That we never released that as a single, but Lady was very big, but Say Yes was the biggest ballad on that album. Of course, And the Beat Goes On was the all-time biggest hit on that album, simply called The Whispers.
Wow. Now, I kind of want to rewind something for a minute. Around the time when Donny Hathaway, you know, was pronounced, you know, dead and stuff, you guys did a tribute to Donny Hathaway.
Yeah.
At that time, what was the backstory behind the record, as far as the artists that don't even know on my end?
Well, we met Donny Hathaway years earlier. For the first time, we met him in Chicago. He was closing his date, as we were back in those days. You know, when you're on the chitlin circuit, acts would open up on a Thursday and close on a Sunday. Well, we got to the club that we were playing on the Sunday, and we got to see Donny Hathaway's closing act. And that's the first time we had ever met or seen Donny Hathaway. But the voice, we will never forget that. When we heard he was performing that night, and I don't know if you're young enough, I don't know if you ever got to see Donny Hathaway in person, but his voice said everything. He had never heard a voice like that. But that's where we met him. And of course, when he met his untimely death from suicide, Dick Griffey, the owner of Solar Records, knowing how much Donny Hathaway meant to us, said, why don't we do a tribute song called A Song for Donny? His wife wrote the song. And then we went on to create the Donny Hathaway Scholarship Fund. And we actually gave out 3 scholarships for kids to go to college in the name of Donny Hathaway.
Oh, man, that's incredible right there, man. I tell you, the way I look back at when I listen to some of his greatest hits, and I said, man, I wish we would have had a collaboration. You know, you guys with Donny Hathaway do a song together. I already know that would have been out there, man.
Same way with us.
We feel the same way, man. I just think the audience didn't get to hear him live as long. I mean, when you hear his daughter today, because when you hear her, you kind of hearing him. But man, he was one of a kind. There's no question about it.
He had a voice that will always be remembered.
Yeah. Around this time, like the next single, you know, said 1981 was called "It's a Love Thing," and you know, said man, like another anthem and stuff. And what was it like when that song came out? You know, saying as you know, music was transitioned to a different direction at that time.
Well, "It's a Love Thing" was the answer to "And the Beat Goes On." It was produced by Leon Silvers, as "And the Beat Goes On" was. And we first had a song called "I Can Make It Better" after "And the Beat" came out. But "And the Beat," I mean, "I Can Make It Better" did all right. But then we came with "It's a Love Thing," and that was the answer. That was the second single from the "And the Beat" album, which was produced by Leon Silvers. And one of the biggest up tempos that we ever had, other than And the Beat Goes On, and of course later on Rock Steady.
Wow, man. You know, it's at that time you guys had hit after hit. It's like, man, it's just like on fire, man. Now, correct me on this. In between this time, there was a certain record you guys were supposed to have, but it went to Midnight Star, and I forgot the single what it was. And I see the interview you guys did on Unsung. I know y'all felt some type of way about it. I said, oh man, that's kind of messed up. I said, oh well, Whispers like they got too many hits, so I'm gonna give it to you guys.
Wet My Whistle.
The song was called
Well, Whistle, yeah.
Wet My Whistle, but they wrote the song for the Whispers. But then we were all on the same label: Midnight Star, Whispers, Babyface, the Silvers, all these people on the. But anyway, at the time we were being very successful, and Dick Griffey, the president, he said, "Man, listen." When he heard the song, he said, "No, you can't get that to the Whispers." He said, "The Whispers got enough hits. Y'all need some hits." And he refused.
Talking about
Midnight Star. So he took the song from us, written by Bo Watson, keyboard player with Midnight Star, one of the greatest writers for us.
Yeah.
Did it. Bad brother. But anyway, Dick said, "No, I'm taking it from y'all, and y'all put it on your album." And it ended up being a smash. I mean,
smash hit on them.
It was a smash regardless of who did it.
Yeah.
But Bo wrote it. It was
specifically wrote for the Whispers. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh man, that's crazy, man. I ain't know label executives did stuff like that.
Oh, that's exactly what they did.
There was a whole lot of crazy stuff going on back then, partner.
Oh man. Okay. Around this time, okay. The next, big hit was In the Raw.
Leon Silvers again. He wrote that. Was that on the Whispers too?
Yeah, it was on. That's the one. That's one of the first up tempos that we actually did a video on. At that time, we're doing videos, and we did a video on In the Mood and In the Raw, and the Beat Goes On too, of course. But yeah, that was one of, but that wasn't as big as Rock Steady or It's a Love Thing or In the Beat, but it definitely made a lot of noise for us. Yeah, In the Raw, produced by Leon Silvers.
Yeah. Yeah, shouts to Leon Silvers. I don't think that brother gets a lot of, he definitely deserves to get his flowers because the stuff he wrote for you guys and a handful of people. And I don't think some people don't really talk about that.
Absolutely right. He don't get his flowers enough because he's one of the best producers in the world of R&B music, without a doubt.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Okay. The next big one is Keep On Loving Me. Man, that's my favorite video and stuff. And I was like 2 years old when that video dropped. So, but I was too young to even, to even see it. But fast forward, I got older, and I was like, wow, man. What was it like shooting that video, man? Because it seemed like, y'all was like kind of going in circles in the video. Cause I could just imagine, man, the work that was put in behind that.
Again, that's production Leon Silvers again. That was his song.
But the video,
the video,
Caldwell,
Nick, that was Nick's routines and everything was done by Nick Caldwell. But
we just had a lot of fun, as you can see. If you look at the video, we were having big time fun. I mean, this was kind of we were sort of ahead of our time on this, but it was one of the greatest videos we ever did, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you had a good time and stuff, and RP to Nick Caldwell, man. I don't think he gets credit for, stuff he choreographed, man. Like when I did my homework, what he brought to the music industry, I was like, wow, man. Some people don't recognize that because usually when they look at the artists in the group, they think about, okay, he sings, but they didn't pay attention to, what he does behind the scenes.
Yeah, no question. He was the glue that kept the Whispers going, no question about it. That was from the choreography he wrote Lady, he wrote Say Yes. He was a writer of the group. And he did the choreography. So basically, he was kind of the foundation of the Whispers. And when we lost him in 2016, it was a huge loss. No question about it.
Yeah. R.I.P., man. It's the great. Okay, the next one. Yeah, the next one. Okay, as time goes on, now, how did the situation with Babyface and L.A. Reid, Daryl Simmons came about?
Oh, that was incredible. We met them in Atlanta. They were down for they used to have a yearly, what they call a convention in Atlanta where all the writers and record companies would come. And these two young guys, Babyface was from Indianapolis and LA was from, I think, Dayton, right? But they were members of the Deal. I know you remember the Deal. But
yeah, I remember the Deal.
Yeah, but they were pushing their songs, as producers and wanting artists to do them. And believe it or not, we tell people this all the time, the group that they were in the deal, Babyface presented In the Mood and all the songs that went on, that's not the song, and they turned that down. And as a matter of fact, the deal, if you remember, they kind of wanted to be the answer to Prince. So their music, what they wanted to do was Prince style music. So the stuff that Babyface was presenting to them fit us. And basically, when he came with Rock Steady for us, and later with In the Mood, that was songs that basically would have been done for the deal, but it ended up being with the Whispers.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Because man, those two videos, man. I mean, it was like you could not go nowhere at that time. Because I do remember video shows as a little kid, and just see the videos in rotations, man. See it on MTV, VH1. We had Friday night videos. Right. That's when the box just came out around that time, and to see that, man. I mean, in my neighborhood, man, those like the go-to songs. Damn what it just get better with time. The self-titled.
Yeah, same thing.
You know,
Gary Taylor.
Yeah, man. Those were some bangers and stuff. And you know, it's funny too, because that song really got Babyface even noticed even more. You know, which led to he'll work with Bobby Brown, Dolby Crew, and Tony Braxton, and you know the list goes on.
Yeah, that was his opening. You're right. You know, that introduced him to the industry. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you something funny. The video In the Mood, the lady that was like was taking a shower and stuff like that. And she is now have her own agency now. She has her own agency, you know, as far as like Discover Act. Yeah. And I looked and I said, wait a minute, I seen her when I came to California at the event. And I put two together. I said, oh man, that was the sister of the show, you know, but that's a whole different conversation. That time. But yeah, exactly, man. But In the Mood, I tell you, man, Quiet Storm played the hell of that here in Louisville, Kentucky, man. I mean, that stayed. I mean, to this day, you know, was it like 36 years later, still playing that song, man. I mean, you know, now singing that, I know people hit you up, be like, man, you know, this song right there, man, you know, got my relationship started, or, you know, they had kids off that record and stuff. I know you guys get all kinds of feedback whenever you guys go to different.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that's what people tell us all the time, man. He said, man, that song took me through a lot. And we had no idea, man, that it was so influential, but it's one of the biggest ballads that we ever had. Other than Say Yes, In the Mood is the biggest ballad that we ever had.
Olivia.
And Olivia lost and turned out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, around this time when the album had its run and you guys was going in a different direction. Now, correct me on this. Did y'all situation Solar ended? Y'all went to Capitol? Am I correct on that?
That's correct. Yeah, we went to Capitol, right.
Okay, you know, yeah. What led to go to the direction at that time?
Well, we were interested in forming our own production company to produce other people. And when we talked to various record companies, that was a plea, that was the shake that we were given. And we wanted to sign with them, but we wanted to have a production company. And Capitol gave us the opportunity to have a production company. But what we didn't realize, 2 years after we signed with Capitol, Capitol shut down the entire black music department. So it just stopped everything. So the plans that we had for production, we had already went out and got a young group and was in the studio doing songs on them. And that was all for naught because Capitol basically shut down the whole black department. They didn't have a black department. So it kind of hilted us, and that's how it happened.
Yeah. And see, all the people don't realize too, people say, well, R&B, that, this, that, no, just that these label execs, man, they do bad business situations because, okay, like you want a black artist, you want their music, but at the same time, it's like, you know, why fire, you know, someone that's, you know, putting dollars in your pockets, you know, that's building a revenue in, you know, and that doesn't make any sense, you know, and stuff. You know, that's like you supposed to be invited to a birthday party. You can't go there, but somebody gonna drop you off and give you a cake. Like, here you go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right.
And that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Now around this time in 1990, you guys dropped your top 3 single called Innocent. And yeah, that was a banger right there, man.
Oh, great song, man. Written by the late Robert Brookins. This brother, he died too young, no question about it. But Robert Brookins, he worked with several female acts, but he did Innocent. And for years, man, we had an argument because once again, Innocent was a song that was debated. We wanted it to be a single. The record company didn't hear it as a single. They wanted it to stay on the album. So it remained on the album, but we did it in our show. But it never became a single, but it should have been.
Yeah, that didn't make sense, you know, especially something that's hot like that, you know. How can you not, you know, why would a whole song back like that and stuff? And yeah, and you know that you know that's the thing too. That's why I tell people it's good to be independent because you can put out the type of music you want to put out without feel like you're being segregated or limited to what you could do and stuff. You know,
yeah, you're right.
And that doesn't make any sense. You know, why sit here? You know, push talent away that been dropping back-to-back platinum gold singles, top 10 of what R&B hits. That doesn't make any sense and stuff. So that's why I say that, you know, the industry, they just hire anybody just to take over a CEO or president position. That's you know, retarded. They don't even do their homework. And stuff.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely right, bro.
Yeah. Now the second single from there was My Heart, Your Heart was number 4.
Yeah, another Gary Taylor.
Taylor, okay.
It was called Just Gets Better with Time. It was from the album called the album's called My Heart.
Yeah, but Gary Taylor wrote it. He was a young producer that we had. He also wrote My Heart, Your Heart, and Just Gets Better with Time. He wrote both of those songs. As a matter of fact, this brother was a gifted producer, man, and did a whole lot of stuff. Gary Taylor, you probably knew him as an artist too, because he had his own album out.
Yeah.
But we went in the studio with him, man, and it was incredible. Super talented guy, no question about it.
Now, around this time, you know, New Jack Swing was popping, you know, a lot of differences was going on. Now, one of your members, I forgot his name, you know, he would start to go through a lot of health issues and stuff, you know, around this time.
Marcus. That was Marcus.
And
Marcus Hudson.
Marcus.
Yeah, we lost Marcus in the year 2000. Yeah, he had his health problems, and but we've been together for quite a few years, and yeah, he fought it as long as he could. He died of prostate cancer. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, man. God rest his soul and stuff,
Absolutely.
man. You know, a lot of times with soul groups, you know, they tend to, you know, they turn around try to find another person that look like this person, try to add them in. You know, what was, you know, y'all decision like? We can't see ourselves bringing up a person that looks similar to the last one. You know, regardless of how people come and go, we just, you know, we go stay true to, you know, ourselves.
That's exactly what we decided. We felt we lost Marcus and Nicholas, but even while we were all together, we said we would never replace anyone. Basically, when we were through, that was gonna be it. If you don't see me and Scotty, that means the Whispers is through. They had their day. They had a great run. But as far as replacing us with somebody that looks like us, that ain't gonna happen. Never will.
Yeah, you know, and you know, with some groups, I don't know how they do it, but you know, that's a whole lot of confusion. You know, they're so fast, they be feeling some type of way, like, who's this person? And they got to explain so many interviews and performances. Yeah, man, I see it all over the internet, man. It's crazy. Now, around this time, now when the Whispers was like on a kind of like a hiatus. Now y'all two had like a duo album together around that time, and I remember y'all had that. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned when we went to the production company, that was part of the deal. We went to Capitol, and the first project of the production company was to produce me and Scotty. Nicholas and Lavelle did produce me and him. And then, of course, we had a young group that we were wanting to produce, but as I told you, the whole department shut down. But it was called My Brother's Keeper, and that was an album that they produced on the two of us. And that was big fun, man. But once again, the album was produced and finished, but because what Capitol was doing, it never really got the exposure that we felt that it should have got. I mean, there's great songs on there, you know, but it's called My Brother's Keeper, and people play it to this day. But it didn't receive the marketing that a Whisper album would have received had they done the job properly.
Yeah. I think around that time, you know, we had distribution deals and different labels. You know, they was folded so fast. They did a horrible market. You know, it's like if you dealing with a group that's, you know, successful, you gotta know what you're doing at all times.
That's right.
You know, you just can't tell a person one thing. They're thinking like, okay, they turn around, you see the results that wasn't even there.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it don't make sense. You're right.
You gotta let the creativity flow and let them do what they do best.
Yeah. And, you know, like, I'm gonna tell you, man, like, you guys been an inspiration to me, man, because y'all inspired me, like, grow my mustache thick, man, because when I tell you, man, like, when I was coming up, man, you know, I used to, like, when I grow my mustache out, first it was thin, and then I was like, man, that's too much maintenance. I say about to do all that, man. Yeah, my cousin said, nah, you should keep it thin. I said, nah, brother, that's Prince stuff, dude. I said, I'm gonna grow my thick, man. God, I mean, God made it this way, man. Like, you know, it's like my grandfather had a thick mustache. The Whisper got it. I'm gonna get one too. So you guys paid away for buzz like me.
Oh yeah, bro.
And so,
Man.
you know, probably like now it's crazy too because like, was that like planned as a signature or people just came out nowhere and just said that?
You know, it just happened haphazardly. To be honest with you, when I came back from Vietnam, I didn't have a mustache. And I wasn't in the group, of course, but Scotty was in and he had his mustache. And this brother told us, man, y'all, the mustache is pretty good. Why don't you need to you need to grow one too. And that's been years ago. So I grew one. And just like you said, people noticed it. They said, man, it was a pretty thick mustache y'all got there. So y'all need to keep it. It became a trademark. So it became a trademark, and it's been that way for years.
Yeah, it's crazy too, man. Because when I look at, I know Steve Harvey said in an interview, said he got inspired by y'all, with the mustache.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
and that made it easy for us because as a man, try to make mustache stand is like that's not gonna work out, man.
No.
I'm sorry,
It's not gonna work at all.
No.
Yeah.
But,
Okay.
you know what, man? Let me say this to you before we get going any further. We want to let you know how much we appreciate you allowing us to on your platform. Because especially when we're doing with our trying to redo our catalog and all that, we don't take it for granted, man. We want to thank you for allowing us to use your platform to tell young people they can do the same thing that we're doing, educate our brothers, because if they don't, they'll get taken the same way we did. So I want to thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, the atmosphere has changed so much today
it.
that young people like yourself, you got your own platform, doing your own thing. That's what we don't need the record companies anymore. You can do your own thing, just like what you're doing with us today. This is your thing, and young people need to know that, man. Ownership means everything. When you own it, you make the call. You make the decision as to what's going to be done, about how much money's going to be made. It belongs to you. So like Scotty said, man, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity.
I appreciate it, because that was my thing too, because I wanted to correct the history of R&B, because before I even done this, it wasn't really a lot of, platforms that represent, black artists, especially come from a black person like myself. So when I thought to myself a decade ago, I said, you know what, I want to tell the stories of every black artist and give them their flowers, but not just talk about the past, what they accomplished, also focus on the present too, what they got going on.
That's exactly right.
So, I'm sure glad you did it, brother.
Yeah, brother.
Thank you enough.
Yeah, we can't thank you, bro.
So man, appreciate that, man.
So I got to get out of here. I'm headed out of town for this 4th of July like everybody else. But brother, thank you so much for having us, man. And let's do this again.
Almost definitely, man. And correct me on this, when you got dropping a single tomorrow, so it was Olivia.
Awesome turned out. Thank you so much, brother. We appreciate that.
No problem. Can't wait, man. I'm gonna prefer that, so on my platform, man. But thank you guys for coming on here, man. It's a blessing, man. Man, you guys made my day, man. I mean, to see y'all on Soul Train and Video Soul and all these other platforms, to have you guys on here, man, to me, it's a blessing to me, man. But thank you again, man. Like I said, never gotta do this again.
All right, bro. Thank you so much, man. We appreciate you.
God bless.
God bless you.
All right, peace.